the scream echoed by the mansion of Beverly Hills when Victoria Sterling opened the kitchen door and found her 8-year-old daughter Emma kneeling on the floor beside the dumpster, desperately chewing out of damaged food. "Emma, my God, what are you doing?" Victoria left the bags of the business trip fall to the marble floor, running toward her daughter. The girl was unrecognizable, thin, with deep dark circles and naked hair. "Mommy?" Emma lifted her face, tears mixing with expired tomato sauce that dripped by the chin. "You came back. Maria said you would never come back." Victoria felt her stomach wrap when she saw her daughter's state. In 2 weeks of travel, Emma had lost at least 5 pounds. His previously pink cheeks were now deep as craters. The arms looked like fragile twigs under the dirty and torn t-shirt. "Where is Maria?" Victoria asked, referring to the Filipino nanny that she had hired 6 months ago with the best references. "And why are you eating garbage?" She said food is just for those who deserve it," Emma whispered, shrinking as if she expected to be punished. "And I don't deserve it because I'm a bad girl who made Mom leave." Victoria took her daughter on her lap, shocked with the featherweight that Emma had become. At 35, she had built a financial empire from scratch after a devastating divorce 3 years ago. "I worked 16 hours a day to give Emma everything she herself never had in her childhood, but nothing had prepared her for that devastating scene." During childhood, Victoria had experienced true hunger. Created by a single mother in Detroit, I knew exactly what it was like to dream of food and waking up with her stomach hurting. He swore that Emma would never go through this. "Maria!" he shouted, his voice echoing through the house of 3 floors. Absolute silence. "Maria, come here now." Emma trembled in her mother's arms. "She's not here, Mom. She just comes back at night and brings her friends. They make noise and I have to stay in my room without sound. Sometimes I hear them laughing when I cry hungry." Victoria's heart has shot. What friends? What a noise. She had left clear instructions. No visits, strict routine, healthy eating. Maria received $4,000 a month precisely for exclusive dedication to Emma. Carrying her daughter, Victoria rushed to the girl's room. The bed had dirty and yellowish sheets, smelling nauseating urine. The closet that used to be full of expensive clothes was almost empty. On the floor, just a few broken toys scattered. "Emma, where are your clothes? Your toys?" "Maria said she sold because I didn't deserve to have beautiful things." The girl responded, naturally devastating. "She said spoiled kids need to learn to live with less. You spent too much money with me and so left." Victoria ran to her own room. The vault was open and empty. Family jewelry, including the diamond necklace valued at $200,000, had gone. The collection of missing luxury clocks. On the dressing table, just a scribbled note. "Emma is well cared for. I'll be back tomorrow. Maria." He returned to the kitchen, carrying Emma, and opened the refrigerator. Completely empty except for a bottle of water and 2 yogurt over a week ago. The pantry she always kept full for emergencies was looted. Only wrinkled cans and empty packages thrown on the floor. "My love, how long have you not eaten a real meal?" Emma thought of effort, as if it were difficult to remember. "Maria gave me a little piece of bread every day, but only if I didn't cry asking for Mom. Yesterday I cried, so I didn't get bread. I didn't get bread either because I won because I peed in bed." The revelation hit Victoria as a shot in the chest. While she closed Millionaire contracts in Hong Kong, had dinner in 5-star restaurants and slept in luxury suites, her daughter was being systematically tortured by hunger in her own home. "Emma, Maria did something bad with you?" "She filmed me when I cried," Emma whispered. "I said I was going to show other people how I was a problem child, and I gave me medicine to sleep when I asked for too much food." Victoria felt the world turn. Sleeping medicine? In an 8-year-old child? What kind of monster was that woman? He took the phone and called Carlos, the Filipino gardener who worked in the neighboring house for years. If anyone could have information about Maria, it would be him. Her hands trembled so much that she knocked her cell phone twice. "Carlos, I need to talk to you urgently about Maria, the Filipina nanny who works here." There was a heavy silence on the other side. She could hear Carlos breathing deeply, as if she was preparing to say something terrible. "Mrs. Sterling, I was waiting for her call for weeks." What's so waiting?" "Mary is not who you think it is," Carlos whispered, his voice loaded with something that sounded like fear. "And what she did to Emma is just the beginning. There are things you need to know, things that will shock deeply." Victoria felt a cold shiver through her spine. Carlos knew Maria? What do you mean waiting for the call? What else was happening in her own home while she was out building an empire to give her daughter security? "Carlos, what are you talking about? What things?" "I can't talk over the phone, lady. It's very dangerous. But I can go there now. Bring Emma, too. She needs to hear some truths, no matter how painful." The line fell, leaving Victoria with more questions than answers. As she warmed milk to Emma, her mind processed signs she had ignored. Maria always avoided talking about her past, It never allowed Victoria to check the references in person. I always insisted on receiving cash payment. And there was something else. Over the past 2 months, Victoria had noticed that Emma seemed quieter in the more distant video chamades. But Maria always explained that the girl was going through a difficult phase, and that she was helping Emma become more independent and mature. Now, looking at her skeletal daughter in her arms, Victoria realized that all those signs formed a sinister pattern that she had chosen to ignore for convenience. What Carlos was about to reveal would completely change everything she believed to know about confidence, about the predators that sometimes we invited into our homes, and how far a mother is able to go when they find out that they messed with her son. If you are feeling angry at the situation as I am, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, because what Carlos was about to reveal about Maria was not just about neglect or theft. It was about a much darker scheme that would turn Victoria by predator and Emma traumatized into a key piece of a revenge that would shock the whole country. Carlos arrived in 20 minutes, but Victoria immediately realized that something was wrong. The usually confident and smiling gardener seemed nervous, constantly looking over his shoulder as if he expected to be followed. "Mrs. Sterling, I need to be straightforward," he said, sitting on the edge of the couch without taking his eyes off the door. "Maria is not a nanny. She is recruiting." Recruiter of what? Victoria held Emma on her lap. The girl had finally fell asleep after taking warm milk. "From rich children to an international scheme," Carlos whispered, his voice loaded with genuine fear. "She works for a network that identifies vulnerable families, single parents, widows, people who travel hard for work. They infiltrate domestic staff." Victoria felt the blood freezing. "Carlos, what exactly are you talking about?" "My niece worked for them for 2 years before being able to escape. The scheme is simple. They psychologically break children with hunger, medication, and isolation until they are completely dependent and submissive." The gardener stopped to take a deep breath. "Then they sell children to families abroad who want to adopt discreetly. Blue-eyed blonde children like Emma are worth a lot of money in the Asian black market." Victoria felt violent nausea. Emma was not just being mistreated. She was being prepared to be sold as a human commodity. "Why didn't you tell me before?" she asked, trying to keep her voice low so as not to wake her daughter. "Because Maria threatened to kill my whole family if I said something," Carlos admitted, his hands shaking. "But when I saw Emma asking for food in the neighboring garden last week, crying that she was hungry for days, I couldn't be silent anymore." Victoria embraced Emma stronger. "Did Emma ask for food for the neighbors?" "Yes, madam. 3 times. Mary always appeared and said that Emma had mental problems, that she invented stories to draw attention. The neighbors believed why Maria is very convincing. Now everything made sense. The video chamadas where Emma looked dizzy and distant, Maria always controlling what the girl said, always staying in the camera's field of view, the sleeping medicines that Emma mentioned. "Carlos, Maria comes back? Tonight, as always. But Mrs. Sterling, she doesn't come alone. It brings at least 2 men who are watching to make sure no one interferes with her work." Victoria took her cell phone and started dialing 911, but Carlos held her hand. "Lady, the police will not believe. Maria has perfect false documents, manufactured references, even medical certificates saying that Emma has mental disorders that justify medication. So what do you suggest I do? Let my daughter be sold as a slave?" Carlos took a deep breath. "My niece told me one thing before fleeing the country. Mary always makes the same mistake. She documents everything, films children being trained to show buyers how they are obedient." Victoria felt a spark of hope. "Are you saying there is proof of what she did to Emma?" "Not only that, madam. Maria keeps all videos on her cell phone because she gets extra payments whenever she sends updates from the progress of children." Emma moved her mother's arms and whispered something that made Victoria tremble with anger. "Mom, Maria said you sold me to her because I didn't want me anymore." That was the drop of water. Victoria Sterling had built a financial empire being smarter, more cruel, and more determined than any man in the market. Now someone had made the fatal mistake of moving his daughter. "Carlos, I need you to help me get these recordings." "Madam, it's very dangerous. If they find out—" "Listen well," Victoria interrupted, and for the first time Carlos saw in her eyes the same calculating coldness who had turned a poor Detroit girl into Wall Street's most feared woman. "Maria made a mistake. She chose the wrong family to attack." Victoria put Emma carefully on the couch and walked to the office. He returned with a laptop and started typing furiously. "What are you doing?" Carlos asked. "Checking the security systems of the house. Maria disabled all the internal cameras but forgot the external. I have 2 weeks of recordings showing strange people entering my house at night." Carlos observed Victoria working with a frightening efficiency. "Mrs. Sterling, do you have any plan?" Victoria stopped typing and looked straight into his eyes. "Carlos, did you say Maria comes back tonight?" "Yes, always between 10 and 11 at night." "Perfect." Victoria smiled. but it was a smile that didn't come to the eye. Because tonight, Maria will find out that disappears people make the mistake of underestimating a mother's love, and some mistakes cost more than a person can pay. Carlos felt a shiver. There was something in Victoria's voice that made him realize that Maria had no idea of the storm that had triggered by moving Emma Sterling. While Victoria continued to enter, her memories returned to Detroit, to the years when she herself had been a vulnerable child in a system that did not protect the weak. The difference was that now she had resources, contacts, and a headquarters that had been fed by years of struggle. Maria had chosen the wrong victim, and Victoria Sterling was about to show this predatory that some mothers do not forgive, do not forget, and definitely do not rest until justice is done. What none of them knew was that Victoria's revenge would be so brutal and complete that it would forever change the rules of the game in the underworld of children's trafficking, turning the hunter and a prey to a way that would shock even the harder criminals. Victoria spent the next 6 hours turning her mansion into a digital trap. While Emma slept deeply on the couch, for the first time in weeks without forced medication, Victoria worked with the surgical accuracy of those who had survived Wall Street sharks. "Carlos, I need you to tell me all about how this network works," she said, typing codes on multiple computer screens. "Every detail." The gardener took a deep breath. "They work in cells, madam. Maria is just a piece. Above her have regional coordinators who supervise dozens of simultaneous operations." Victoria paused. "How many children do you think they are going through the same as Emma right now?" "My niece said that only in Los Angeles are at least 20 active houses, 20 children being tortured while Victoria planned their revenge." The idea consumed her with anger, but also motivated her. This would not just be about Emma, it would be about destroying the entire network. "Mrs. Sterling, can I ask what you are doing?" Carlos watched Victoria install professional surveillance equipment that had apparently kept at home. "Do you remember when I said Maria chose the wrong family?" Victoria smiled coldly. "Before I was an investor, I was digital security analyst for the FBI, specializing in tracking international criminal networks." Carlos widened his eyes. "Are you a police officer?" "It was. I left the FBI when Emma was born but kept the contacts and the skills." Victoria connected the last cable. "Maria will find out today that some knowledge never get lost." At 4 p.m., Victoria received a call that would completely change the game. It was Marcus Thompson, his former FBI partner. "Vic, I received your message about children's trafficking in Beverly Hills. Do you know we have been investigating this network for 2 years?" Victoria almost dropped the phone. "Marcus, do you know this operation?" "Knowing is little. We have dossiers about more than 200 victims, but we can never infiltrate the organization. They are extremely cautious." Marcus paused. "Vic, did you say you have direct access to an active carrier?" "She goes back to my house in 5 hours, Marcus, and she will bring enough probative material to overthrow the entire network." "Vic, this is too dangerous. If you find out that you are a former FBI..." Victoria looked at Emma sleeping, finally alone. "Marcus, they tortured my daughter for 6 months. They prepared her to be sold as a sexual slave. Do you think I care about the danger?" The silence on the other side revealed that Marcus knew Victoria enough to know that there was no argument able to deter her. "Okay, Vic, but we do it my way. Complete federal operation. I will bring a team and military surveillance equipment. Marcus, Maria can't find that it is a trap. If she escapes, we lose the chance to save other 20 children. Leave me. In 2 hours you will have invisible federal support covering every inch of this house." While waiting for the FBI team to arrive, Victoria received a message that shivered her hatred. It was from Mary. "Mrs. Sterling, I learned that she came back early. I hope you found Emma well cared for. I'll be there at 10 p.m. to get some details about her future. I brought some friends interested in meeting her better." Victoria read the message 3 times. Friends interested in meeting Emma better. They were the buyers. Maria was bringing the buyers to see the goods. He immediately called Marcus. "The situation has changed. It's not just Maria. She is bringing buyers tonight." "Jesus Christ, Vic. It means that tonight we were going to lose Emma forever if I had not returned from travel." Victoria felt nausea. "Marcus, they will try to take my daughter today." Vic breathes. "Now we have the opportunity to take not only one carrier, but the buyers too. This can dismantle the entire operation at once." At 7 p.m., the Sterling mansion seemed normal on the outside, but had become a federal operations center. Microscopic cameras, directional microphones, agents disguised in neighboring homes, cell phone blockers to prevent external communication. Emma woke up and asked why there were so many different people in the house. "They are friends of Mom, my love. They are here to make sure you never get hungry or be afraid." "Will Maria come back?" Emma asked, instinctively clinging to her mother stronger. "Go, Emma, but this time she'll find out that she has moved the wrong family." Victoria held her daughter's face between her hands. Remember when you asked me if Mom was going to protect you forever? Emma nodded. Today you will see the answer. Marcus approached a children's bulletproof vest, disguised as a common clothes. For Emma, standard protocol in operations involving minors. Victoria put on her daughter, trying to keep her voice calm. It's just a special outfit, my love, for you to get even more protected. At 9:45, motion sensors detected 3 vehicles approaching the property. Maria was not coming alone. She was bringing a complete entourage. Vic, Marcus whispered in the communicator, there are 7 adults. 2 have stayed in cars as watchmen. 5 are rising towards the house. We identified at least 3 weapons. Victoria felt her heart shoot. It was not just a sales operation, it was a military operation to high-rate Emma forcibly. Marcus, they didn't come to negotiate. They came to get Emma and disappear tonight. The bell rang exactly at 10 p.m. Victoria took a deep breath, straightened the invisible microphone in the necklace, and walked toward the door. On the other side was Maria, but not the same submissive and smiling woman who had worked at her home for 6 months. This Mary had cold, calculating eyes, and was accompanied by 4 men who were clearly not social workers. Mrs. Sterling, Maria smiled, but it was a smile that didn't come to the eye. I brought some experts to evaluate Emma. They are very interested in adopting it. Victoria opened the door completely, allowing the cameras to capture each face. Of course, Maria. Enter. Let's talk about my daughter's future. Mary and the men entered the house, not knowing that each word, each movement was being recorded by state of the Art Federal Equipment, and that Victoria Sterling was about to show what happens when predators make the mistake of hunting the daughter of a former federal agent who never forgot how to destroy criminals professionally. What they didn't know was that Emma herself, discreetly trained by Victoria in recent hours, carried a tracement device. This would allow the FBI to locate the entire distribution network, no matter where they tried to take it, because sometimes, to save a child, a mother needs to be willing to use this child as bait, knowing that this time, unlike everyone else, the trap was on the right side of justice. Welcome to our house, Victoria said with a smile that didn't reach the eyes, closing the door behind the group. Emma is eager to meet you. Maria relaxed visibly, hearing Victoria's collaborative tone. I knew you were a smart mother. Emma will have a much better life with a family that really values her. One of the men, clearly the buyer's leader, examined the room with calculating eyes. Where is the goods? He asked in English with Asian accent. Emma is in the room waiting, Victoria answered calmly. But first I would like to understand exactly how this adoption process works. Maria smiled with condescension. Mrs. Sterling, you don't have to worry about technical details. The important thing is that Emma will be well cared for and you will receive generous compensation for the inconveniences of recent months. Compensation? Victoria pretended to be surprised. I thought you were doing this for the sake of the children. The men laughed with each other. Love, said the leader. Mrs. Sterling, this is a business. Emma is worth $200,000 in the Asian market. Blonde American children are premium commodity. Victoria felt bile climb the throat, but kept the composure. Each word was being recorded in high definition. What if I refuse? She asked, testing the boundaries. Maria completely lost the mask of cordiality. Mrs. Sterling, you have no choice. Emma is already psychologically prepared for the transition, and frankly, after 6 months documenting her parental neglect, I have enough material to prove that you are an inappropriate mother. What kind of documentation? Victoria asked, pretending nervousness. Maria pulled her cell phone from her pocket with arrogant pride. I have dozens of Emma videos crying, asking for food, having a panic crisis. Any court will conclude that you are a negligent mother who doesn't deserve to have a daughter. Victoria looked straight at the hidden camera, knowing that Marcus was recording every second. Maria, did you shoot my daughter being tortured? Tortured? Maria laughed with derision. I discipline her. I made a spoiled child into an obedient and submissive girl. My buyers value well-trained children. The leader of the buyers approached. We want to see the child now. We have lost enough time. Victoria took a deep breath. Sure, but first I would like you to see something. She walked to the 75-inch TV and turned on the system. On the screen appeared a high-definition video. Maria forcing Emma to take medication as the girl cried desperately. What is that? Maria was pale as paper. These are the recordings of the security cameras you thought you disabled, Victoria said calmly. 6 months of evidence of crisp torture documented in 4K. The buyer's leader tried to leave, but the door would not open. What fuck is going on? Victoria smiled, but now it was a cold smile. Maria, remember when you said I was a negligent mother who didn't deserve to have Emma? You can't, Maria stammered. Actually, I can, because you know what you never bound you to find out about me. Victoria pulled a wallet from her pocket and showed a golden badge. Former special FBI agent, specializing in children's trafficking networks. The silence in the room was broken by the sound of sirens approaching quickly. Maria tried to erase something on her cell phone desperately, but Victoria laughed. Too late, Maria. All her files were copied remotely 2 hours ago. Each video, each contact, each message exchanged with her criminal network. The front door exploded when the FBI's tactical team broke into the house. FBI, all on the floor. Maria fell to her knees, finally understanding the magnitude of her situation. You deceived me? No, Victoria corrected, observing the agent's handcuffs each criminal. You were wrong. You thought you were dealing with another rich and naive mother, but I am the mother who spent 2 years infiltrated in pedophile networks to the federal government. Marcus appeared with a team of technicians. Vic, we intercepted all their communications. We identified 23 active operations in 5 different states. The buyer's leader tried one last card. You have no proof that we came here to buy children. Victoria laughed and pointed to television, where she was now recording him saying, Emma is worth $200,000 in the Asian market. I have 7 hours of recordings of you discussing prices, transportation methods, and even specific preferences from buyer's final, Victoria said. You have just delivered the largest children's trafficking operation in the history of the FBI. Mary looked at Victoria with pure hatred. You destroyed everything. Years of work. No, Victoria replied, kneeling to be at the height of Maria Aljama. I saved 20 children who were being tortured right now by people like you. And you know what else? Victoria approached Mary's face. Emma will never have nightmares with you again, because where you will spend the next 30 years of your life, the only person who will have nightmares will be you, when the other prey find out that you sold children. While the criminals were taken, Victoria climbed to seek Emma. The girl was awake, frightened by the noise. Mom, Maria came back? Victoria hugged her daughter tightly. Yes, my love, but this time she came to say goodbye forever. 3 months later, Victoria Sterling was sitting at her new FBI office, now as Regional Director to Combat Children's Trafficking. On the wall behind her, 23 photographs of rescued children smiled back, each saved by the operation that started in their living room. Emma, now with normal weight and attending specialized therapy, played in the corner of the office with dolls she could finally call her own. The nightmares had decreased dramatically, especially after I learned that Maria could never hurt any children again. Mom, Emma said, looking out the window of the 20th floor, did you save all these children because someone tried to hurt me? Victoria knelt next to her daughter. I saved because every child deserves to be protected, love, and sometimes, when bad things happen to us, we can turn them into something good for other people. The phone rang. It was Marcus with updates on the case. Vic, Maria was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The leader of the buyer's network took 45 years. And we have more good news. We intercepted a new cell operating in Miami using exactly the methods you documented. Victoria smiled, noting Emma drawing a happy family with colorful wax chalk. How many children have we saved this time? 17. The youngest was only 5 years old. After off, Victoria received a message that made her laugh for the first time in months. It was by Carlos, now promoted to the neighborhood security supervisor, sending a photo of him with an official badge and a van with surveillance equipment. Mrs. Sterling, who would say a gardener would become an expert in identifying children's predators? I've trained 15 families this month. Victoria's transformation did not go unnoticed by the specialized media. Forbes included it on the list of most influential women in child security, but the recognition that most proudly came from an unexpected source. A handwritten letter from a 9-year-old girl in Denver. Thanks for saving the kids like me. My nanny was bad too, but after you saw you on TV, my parents discovered and she was arrested. Now I can eat when I'm hungry. Emma lifted her eyes from the drawing. Mom, why are you crying? It's happy tears, my love. I'm thinking about how terrible that happened to you helped many other children. Victoria had learned that true justice was not just to punish the culprits, but create systems to protect future victims. Its foundation, funded by the confiscated assets of the criminal network, had already trained more than 500 families to identify signs of abuse. Mary, in turn, discovered that the reputation of those who mistreat children is not welcome even in prison. Keeping in isolation by his own security, he spent 22 hours a day alone with his memories, particularly that night that he completely underestimated a mother who would never allow them to hurt her daughter. The former buyer's leader, trying to reduce his sentence, provided information that led to the dismantling of similar networks in 12 countries. He found out too late that Victoria Sterling was not just a rich mother. It was a force of nature disguised as executive, and he had made the mistake of arousing that force attacking Emma. At the end of the day, while Victoria put Emma to sleep in the new Ultra Seguro house, The girl asked a question that perfectly summed up the lesson of all that journey. Mom, if Maria had never been bad with me, would you still be working only with money? Victoria thought for a moment. Probably yes, my love. So, in a strange way, did she help us help other people? It's an interesting way to see things, Emma. Sometimes the worst situations of our lives lead us to our true purpose. Maria had tried to break Emma to sell her as a commodity, but eventually created the catalyst of her own, the destruction and salvation of hundreds of other children. Victoria has learned that the best revenge is not just to destroy those who harm you. It is to build something so powerful and significant that the original damage turns into the first step of an extraordinary journey. The former FBI analyst had become the largest hunter of children's predators in the country. Emma had become a traumatized victim into a brave survivor, and together proved that sometimes monsters make the fatal mistake of attacking exactly people who have power and determination to stop them forever. If this story of overcoming injustice has touched your heart, subscribe to the channel for more stories that prove that when they move with the wrong person, karma does not take long to arrive, and sometimes it arrives using federal badge and a headquarters that can change the whole world.